So do gamers finally win? You're not going to believe the huge amount of GPUs that the local store I went to had in stock. And this is going to be across the country, even across the globe. Places in Europe have massive amounts of stock. Even the RTX 4090, which has been very difficult to get, has been popping up recently. This particular store even had the Strix 4090, which is one of the most popular ones. But take a look at this. Isn't this weird? Look at all the GPUs that are actually in stock. Kind of funny that a lot of them are actually that Asus Strix for the other tiers of GPUs. We have a 4070 Ti here. This GPU has not been selling well at all, simply because it's way too expensive for the performance that you're getting. And then, of course, the 4080. Look at this, $1499. And this isn't even the cheapest 4080 that they have. There's another version of this very same Strix that's actually $1549. So, okay, you can say gamers win because these GPUs are basically collecting dust on the shelf. What about RTX 3000? Look at all these. These GPUs have also been on the shelves. And look, this is a 3070 Ti. It's not a 4070 Ti, but the pricing is still really high if you try to buy retail. All of these are going to be founder editions, which you can only find at Best Buy, but they're no longer available. So the models that they do have, you're not going to be able to find a 3090. This is a 3060 Ti, which they do have, but a lot of them are way overpriced. So who is really winning here? You can say the gamers are winning because we didn't buy these GPUs. They're mostly in stock. Well, I guess you didn't buy these GPUs. Never mind this. Let me cover this up. Just me and the boys, I guess. Oh no, it looks like I am the problem. Oh. Because definitely over the last 2 years, this is the problem and why gamers consider it a victory. But I'm going to tell you why it's not really a full victory. Gamers have been taken advantage of because, crypto miners were buying GPUs. A lot of people made these GPUs so much more expensive with the scalping problem, everything else that happened. And then the retailers, they're kind of stuck with these GPUs when the market took a complete turn. So at the end of the day, it's not really the retailer's fault that they really want to have like a 4080 in stock there, like a bunch of them without selling. I don't think so, but they're stuck with these very high prices. And remember, most of the time, a retailer like this that I went to see, it's not like they're setting these high prices. They're buying it from distributors that already have a pretty high price. And then they have really thin margins on these GPUs, meaning that they're hoping to sell you other PC parts when you come in, like a motherboard and processor and different things like that. That way, they can really make out on the sale a lot better. And it's not like they're profiting a huge amount on these GPUs. NVIDIA, of course, is going to be the one that initially sets these really high prices. And then the AIBs can run away with it. I mean, look at that 4080 for $1499. MSRP should be $1199. And then Asus tacks on $300 to $350 just because it's a Strix model. Basically, almost the same performance as like a Founders Edition 4080, but it just has a different unique aesthetic to it. Is that really worth it? For some people, yes, but for a lot of people, definitely not, because it's been staying in stock. And these other GPUs, RTX 3000, are also still in stock. And that's part of the reason why RTX 4000 is still a really high price. NVIDIA basically wants to make sure that they can sell all of these other guys, the AIB GPUs, before giving you better pricing. If a 4070 Ti was like $499 or $599, why would anybody ever buy RTX 3000 again? So even though, yes, gamers do kind of win in a way because they're not buying these expensive GPUs, and it's going to force NVIDIA and AMD to perhaps change these prices eventually, it's not a full win because the retailers where we depend on to get these type of parts are going to suffer. They may have less, availability in the future, less good prices in the future because of problems they have now. And then in the end, gamers will also suffer because look, NVIDIA had to price the new series of GPUs way too expensive because nobody is buying RTX 3000. That's not the fault of gamers. NVIDIA produced way too much because they got greedy and they didn't properly forecast the demise of Ethereum, which basically was where all of these GPUs were going. So they didn't really forecast that, that downturn well enough. It happened overnight, but people had pretty advanced warning, and NVIDIA could have planned a little bit better, but they kept just ramping up production and increasing prices. And then the market drops from under them. And all of a sudden they're just stuck looking at all all of those GPUs in stock, and it's certainly a huge problem for them. And now it's translating over to a huge problem for the retailers. And in the short time, the gamers win because they're not buying these GPUs and the prices are going to be forced to go down. But in the long term, gamers don't really win because they want to buy these GPUs, but at good prices. And that means they're going to either stay at high prices, or like the video I did the other day, they're going to give you maybe a little bit lower prices, but they're going to start to cut down a lot of these GPUs. 4070 Ti is a great example. 192-bit memory bus, that's a lot cut down from where it should be, like maybe at least 256 gigabyte memory bus where the 3070 Ti was. This guy right here is that's a 3060 Ti. They look similar. This is a 3070. Oh, here it is. I guess I don't know my Founder Edition GPU colors. They're all a little bit different shade of gray. This is a 3070 Ti, 256-bit memory bus. That seems a lot better than the 4070 Ti 192-bit, right? Even though this is only 8 gigabytes of VRAM compared to 12 on the 4070 Ti, it's still not going to have any bandwidth issues because it's going to be faster than the 4070 Ti, which can have those issues during some 4K gaming. Doesn't happen most of the time, but if you're going to use it at 4K, and I know people say it's a 1440p GPU, but it's $800, so you might as well use it for 4K, it's going to have a couple of issues. So as you can see, it hurts the gamers in the long term because we're either going to get really expensive good products, really expensive cut down products, as has been happening, or a little bit cheaper products, but really cut down. And that's not really going to be good for anybody, something that has to improve. Who knows what the solution is for this? I think NVIDIA definitely has to, first of all, lower prices because they're not really gaining too much community goodwill by having these high prices. And that's going to cause the retailers to buy more GPUs. In turn, gamers will buy more, and it's going to be a much better cycle. And they may just have to eat the amount of inventory they have for RTX 3000 instead of having to pass on that burden to the retailer and the gamer. But at the end of the day, NVIDIA is NVIDIA because they're going to do what they want to do. And most likely it's going to be anything that's to their benefit first. And then everybody else is going to probably get screwed down the line because that's what's been happening during the last few years with all of the availability and demand problems. And now that sort of the tide has gone in, we're left seeing all of the very exposed problems. And unfortunately, it may delay a lot of really good hardware for coming out, or when it does, it's going to be a lot worse than it typically would have been because of cost cutting and different things that are happening. All right, guys, so let me know what you think. Are you seeing a lot of GPUs in stock, and does it worry you a little bit that it could have bad implications for the future of gaming? Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.